Hello and welcome back. You are listening to Spill the Ranch with yours truly, Noelle Cheney, where I talk all things food, influencers, school, and celebrity to keep you up to date on trends and foods worthy of trying. As always, I'm feeling extra saucy on this fine Wednesday morning. First of all, how is it already Wednesday? These long holiday weekends always throw me for a loop because yesterday it felt like a Monday, but it was a Tuesday. And so it just jump starts your week. And it's so fun. And I love that we are already at Wednesday. It's hump day. So we have a lot to recap from this past week and the holiday weekend. We're just coming off a long holiday weekend. Happy belated Memorial Day. I don't want to move on before we take a moment to remember all of those who gave their lives to fight for our country. Memorial Day is sort of this unofficial beginning of summer weekend. It's the first weekend of the summer is kind of how people view it. And that definitely is how it feels. But we also need to keep in mind that the day is meant to remember those who so selflessly gave their lives for our freedom in our country. So didn't want to start the podcast without taking a moment for that. Next, thank you to all of you who have continued to support this podcast so far. Seriously, it means the world to me to know that I have support for this. And I know it is far from perfect. This is still kind of a trial period for this thing that I'm trying to do. And I'm doing my best to make it better and better each week. And I just want you to know that I'm very dedicated to making this podcast as good as it can be. And I just need time to work out all the kinks and get comfortable with it. And so I just want to say thank you for sticking by me and continuing your love and support. And it's just, it is, I really appreciate it. So thank you. I couldn't do it without you guys, truly. So let's get into my Memorial Day weekend recap. There is a lot to talk about. I had a crazy weekend. It was full of social gatherings and hosting things at our house. And so let's start with the beginning of the weekend. Zach and I, my fiance Zach, we joined this tennis and pool club. It's it's kind of like a country club, but it's just a pool and tennis. It's private though. So we joined that for this summer to check it out. And the pool opened this past weekend. So we went to go check it out. We just went for an hour. We just kind of sat by the pool and watched as the hundreds of kids were enjoying the pool. And it was honestly so entertaining to watch all of these kids have the time of their lives, jumping in the pool, playing games, swimming. So that was a really good time to see the pool in action and kind of see what we're in for this summer. As many of you know, I am a teacher, and ever since I graduated college, so for the past 5 years, I have always chosen places to live that have pools. So every apartment that I lived in had a pool for the reason that me being a teacher, I have all this time in the summer. I love sitting by a pool. It's one of my favorite things. I love swimming. I love sitting in the sun. I have always needed a pool. And so actually one of the things I was a little worried about when we moved into a home was oh crap, I won't have a pool anymore. But we found this club that we were able to join. And so it really worked out. And it was so much fun. We met some people there. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun summer. Okay, this weekend, we had people over, not one, not two, not three, 4 nights in a row. We had people over to our house. So we had a very busy weekend, but that was kind of what we wanted. So originally we were going to go up to Wisconsin to Zach's parents' lake house for the weekend. But we kind of last minute decided we have a very busy June and July coming up. We're going to be out of town a lot. Like, let's just stay home, like, finish settling into the house, finish unpacking. And that way we also will have a chance to have some friends over. We kind of went overboard. We had friends over like every single night. It was so much fun, but also so exhausting. But I would like to say I love hosting. I've lived by myself in an apartment for the past 5 years. I lived in a studio and then I lived in 2 different 1-bedrooms. And I loved living alone. But one thing about living alone in a 1-bedroom is 1-bedroom apartments are not that big. They're not as easy to host things in. And I love having a home where we can host things. Like, and our house is, in my opinion, very great for hosting, especially in the summer. We have a big kitchen. We have a very open dining and living area. We have a great basement, which will be great for like football season. We can fit so many people down there to watch the Chiefs and, watch football and stuff. But we also have a great backyard with a fabulous deck. And we have like patio furniture, which we were lucky enough that Zach's parents gave to us, and his aunt and uncle gave to us. But, so yeah, I feel like I love hosting things here because it's just so easy to host people here. And I love being able to do that. And it's so fun because a lot of our friends, we all kind of bought houses around the same time. Like, I had a couple friends who bought houses last year. I don't know if you could hear about that. My stomach just gurgled. I haven't had breakfast yet. And then we recently have some friends who like just bought houses around the same time as us. So we all have these fabulous houses where we can host things. And it's just honestly so much fun. So moving on to the second half of the weekend, on Sunday, our original plan was we were only going to have people over on Sunday. And then it ended up being 4 nights. But so we had planned to do this like darty on Sunday afternoon where people would come over, and then we wanted to order pizza. We had yard games. It was a really good time. And so we did that. And that was a lot of fun. I actually vlogged that entire day. So I'm going to hopefully have that vlog up by the end of the week. I'm aiming for Friday. And one last thing about being a hosting household, Zach and I decided that we want to be a drop-in household for our friends. Like, we want our friends to feel comfortable coming over whenever they want. And our friends are always welcome. And we have just decided that that's going to be who we are. The last day on Memorial Day, my friends and I, there's about 10 of us, we rented a boat on the Missouri side of Kansas City. So there's a lake. There's multiple lakes, but the lake we were on is about 30 minutes from where we live. And there's 10 of us. We rented a pontoon boat. We had the boat all day. It was only like $30 a person, which is like very cheap. So that was fun. We just sort of, we brought food and stuff on the boat. We just enjoyed a day on the lake. It was a beautiful day. So that was my weekend recap. It was a great Memorial Day weekend. It's not very often that I am in Kansas City on Memorial Day weekend. I usually go home to visit my parents, or we go up to Wisconsin. So it was really fun just like staying around here this weekend. So yeah. Okay. Moving on to a question that a listener had from last week. And I wanted to talk about it. So before we get to my segments for this week. So the question was, why did your fiance and you choose to move in together a year before your wedding? So I want to talk a little bit about this because a lot of people think, oh, you need to live with your significant other before you even get engaged. Or, some people are very traditional and think that, you shouldn't live together until you're married. And so we're kind of in the middle of that. We got engaged before we lived together. So we got engaged like 6 months ago, and we just now moved in a few weeks ago together. And I don't know, I think the timing was perfect for us. We thought about moving in together last year, but we didn't want to go through like moving multiple times. We weren't ready to buy last year, and so we would have rented, and then we would have ended up buying this year. It just would have been a lot of moving. And the timing just felt right to do it, once we're engaged. Like for us, that's just what worked for us. And I have to say, like, a lot of people are like, oh, before we moved in, a lot of my friends were like, oh, are you worried to move in? Like, you've lived alone for so long, you're going to be living with a boy. And I have to say, like, it doesn't feel any different. Truly. Like, it feels like a relief now that we live together, because before, like, we lived like 10, 15 minutes away from each other, which is not far, but we'd have to drive to hang out together. And now we just get to hang out whenever we want. It feels natural, honestly. Like, it doesn't feel, it's not weird living with him or anything. Like, I am loving it. I would hope he says the same. But no, it's been really nice, just like making our own home together. And it's what we both looked forward to for so long. And it's so fun that we've been getting to do that. So yeah, and our wedding is next summer. So we got engaged in this past January. I've always known that I wanted a summer wedding, and Zach agreed that like we should do a summer wedding. And so our wedding is next summer, a little over a year from now. And like, it would have been impossible to do that wedding this summer, because planning a wedding in 6 months seems nearly impossible to me. So yeah, that's why it's next summer, which honestly feels like a perfect amount of time. Like, I don't feel like I'm so scrunched for time for planning the wedding, which is nice. It's like the perfect amount of time. So, all right, that's all of my recap and all of the stuff I wanted to talk about before we move on to our segments of the week. So let's start out, how we always do, with my meal of the week and my wote of the week. This is a segment where I talk about my favorite foods that I've been loving for the past week, but I also talk about my wote. So my worst of all time, my least favorite food that I want to highlight today. And the wote of the week this week could truly be my wote of the week every week, unfortunately. And I'm going to start with my meals of the week. So try and guess what you think the wote of the week is going to be. I think if you have been watching me or you know me for a while, that you may be able to guess. So let's start with my two meals of the weeks. My first one, do not underestimate the power of a good sandwich. Sandwiches are so versatile. I love them so much. You can eat them for lunch. You can eat them for dinner. You can dress them up. You can dress them down. I would consider a burger a sandwich. I would even venture to say a hot dog falls in the sandwich category. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a sandwich, but I would say, what other category would it fall in, if not the sandwich category? Let me know in the comments what you think about that, because like I said, I wouldn't consider a hot dog a sandwich, but it is in the sandwich category because it is a bun, 2 pieces of bread with meat in the middle. Like, what else would, that's a sandwich, right? It's obviously a different shape, but I would say it falls in the sandwich category. Now, let me get back to what I was talking about. I love sandwiches. Last week, I made a delicious chopped grinder sandwich, and it was amazing. It's one of my favorite things to make, actually, one of my favorite sandwiches to make, but I don't make it very often. And I made it last week, and it was fabulous. I actually had it twice last week on 2 separate days. And a chopped grinder sandwich essentially is an Italian, but all of the stuff that you put on the sandwich, you chop it up before you put it on the bread, so that when you take a bite, once you do put it on the bread and it's all chopped up in the sandwich, every bite that you take is the perfect bite because it has all of the ingredients in it. You know how sometimes on a sandwich, like, some things fall apart and you don't get everything in every bite? Well, this way, if you chop it up and before you put it on the bun, it's perfect. So don't underestimate the power of a good sandwich, because there are so many different ways you can make a good sandwich. A peanut butter and jelly like that's a perfect lunch for me. Like I oftentimes will make a peanut butter and jelly, bring it to school. I have myself some applesauce, maybe some carrots, maybe some chips, and that's a perfect lunch. I just love sandwiches. They're so easy. Like literally they're as easy as peanut butter and jelly or as easy as ham, cheese, and mayonnaise. Like that's all you need for a meal. One, it's cheap. Two, it's delicious. Like, let's just not underestimate it, okay? Please value your sandwiches. They are amazing and they're here for a reason, and we need to love them. By the way, I am so sorry if you can hear in the background. There is clearly some yard work going on with my neighbors, and I really hope you can't hear it. But if you can, I'm so sorry. I will try my best to, I don't know, lower the volume or something. Okay, my next meal of the week, and it's not really a meal, it's more of a dessert, but that's okay. So, this particular food group is one that I deprived myself of for 5 years, and I'm going to tell you why. So, during my senior year of high school, I developed anxiety, and I was experiencing for me some what I felt to be very severe anxiety, and it was something I had never really felt before. I don't know why it started during this time, but basically this anxiety caused me to have some stomach issues. And so I thought that I was allergic to something because my stomach was hurting all the time and I didn't know why. And so I thought it was something I was eating, and I thought maybe I developed some sort of um, allergy. And so I tested the waters. I tried to go without gluten for a little while, and then it 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 wasn't gluten. And then I really, really thought it was dairy. And I thought it was like specifically like cow's milk dairy. So like milk and ice cream. So things that are like very, very milky. Things with like a lot of cream, like or milk or, ice cream. And so I continued to eat cheese forever. Like I never stopped eating cheese. But I stopped with the milkier things like milk and ice cream. And I really thought that if I ate ice cream, I was going to crap my pants. Like that's what was going through my mind. So recently, I decided it's not worth it to not eat ice cream anymore. It's just not. I used to have ice cream every single night. I kid you not. Every single night, I would eat ice cream. So my parents would always keep the house stocked with at least 1 or 2 pints of Ben and Jerry's. My sister and I were obsessed with Ben and Jerry's ice cream. We still are. But we always had to have at least 1 pint in the house. My sister and I, we really, really liked the half-baked flavor, so we often had that one. One of my favorite ones is the milk and cookies flavor from Ben and Jerry's. They have so many great flavors. We would switch it out often, but we always had to have at least 1 pint in the house. And so I would have ice cream like every single night growing up. I would have a donut or a waffle in the morning, and then before I went to bed, I'd have either a bowl of cereal or ice cream. So anyways, I never had any issues with dairy growing up or anything like that. But during college, for some reason, I thought dairy was what was making me sick, when really I think it was just anxiety. But anyways, so recently I've decided like I'm just going to eat ice cream again, and I don't even care what it does to my stomach because I love the taste of it so much that it doesn't matter. And last week I've been kind of like reintroducing it into my diet. And so last week I decided to go to Dairy Queen because I had not been to Dairy Queen in years, like over a decade. Like I have not been since I was in high school, which is about a decade ago. And so I went to Dairy Queen, and all I'd been able to think about for weeks was just a vanilla cone. I got the confetti cake dipped cone. So it's like vanilla on the inside, but then there was like confetti cake shell on the outside. It was so good, you guys. Like, I love a good soft serve cone. I also love custard. So those are my two favorite, is custard and soft serve. I'll eat any sort of ice cream, but those are my favorites because they're so creamy and soft, and they're really good. I think I want to go back to DQ sometime soon and get a blizzard because their blizzards are so good too. So I'm my other meal of the week is ice cream. Now let's move on to my wote of the week. And this could be my wote of the week every week, unfortunately. But it's tomatoes. Now let me explain why I don't like tomatoes. Now, I mean, obviously my taste buds I just don't like them. And everybody is entitled to not like things, obviously. But it's everything about the tomato. I don't like the seeds. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. And so I really wish I liked tomatoes, because tomatoes are so versatile. They are in so many foods. And I really, really wish that I liked them, but I just don't. And trust me, I've tried so hard to like tomatoes, and I just can't do it. I've tried for years and I just can't. And I really wish I liked them. But for now, they're my wote, because every time, and when I say I don't like tomatoes, I don't like chunks of tomatoes. I love things that are made out of tomatoes, like salsa and ketchup. And, I like tomato soup. But it's the chunks that I can't do. So like on a margarita pizza, if there are large chunks of tomatoes, I'll pick those off. Or in chili, I will eat around the tomatoes that you put in a pot of chili. Same with salsa. I won't eat the big chunks of the tomato. I'll eat the pureed part, but not the tomatoes. So it's the chunks that bug me. So I guess maybe it's more texture based, but I still don't like the taste of just like a plain tomato. I don't really like the taste of that. There needs to be other stuff in it. Like in salsa, there's a lot of other stuff mixed in, like onion and jalapeno and whatever. So yeah, it's just, I really, really wish I liked tomatoes, but I can't. Maybe later in life, I'll start to like them. We can only hope. Let's move on to my teaching stories of the week. I have 3 topics I want to discuss today. So the first thing is teenagers and their nicotine addictions. So last week I made 2 viral-ish videos on TikTok, and I say viral-ish because they have between like 1 and 2 million views. And I just sort of feel like for a video to be considered viral for me, it needs to have like 5+ million views. A lot of people probably wouldn't agree with me on that, but I've been on TikTok for a long time. I've had a lot of videos get, tens of millions of views. And so to me, like a 1 million view is like, it's viral, but it's not like viral, because there are so many other videos out there. Like I looked at and I'll get to this later, but that video of the baby has like over 60 million views. So like, yeah, it's all whatever. TikTok is crazy, the amount of views you can get. But anyways, these videos kind of went viral-ish, and they were videos that I made about students using Zins and vaping. And so I kind of just wanted to talk about students, teenagers, and their nicotine addictions, because it's kind of getting crazy. Like, I feel like teens have always wanted to, use nicotine, whether it's cigarettes, vaping, whatever. But I feel it's so accessible these days, like especially with Zins. This allows kids to constantly, at all times, have nicotine in their system. Like at all times, they are getting a nicotine buzz. And I guess the reason that worries me, and I'm not here to pass judgment about anybody who chooses to use nicotine, because that does not make you a good or a bad person, whatever. Like that, not at all. No, that is not what I'm saying. What worries me is that teenagers, as young as like probably 12 or 11, before they're even teenagers, are getting addicted to this, I don't know if you would call it a substance, but they're getting addicted to this thing that they don't even really understand the lasting effects of. And for Zins and vaping, we still don't really know the lasting effects because they're so new to us. But like they're getting addicted before they can even comprehend what it means. And so like it's one thing for an adult to choose to do that. It's like alcohol. Like once you're an adult, and you have a fully formed brain, you can choose to do that. And that's like not a problem to me. But it's these kids who are getting their hands on this nicotine products and getting addicted to them so heavily before they're even adults. And so that's what worries me about this is they are getting addicted before they even understand what it means, and two, they have access to these things at all times of the day. Now with Zins, it's a lot easier for them at school to get away with it. With vaping or smoking cigarettes, you have to physically like remove yourself from a classroom to go do that. With a Zin, like technically, if you can keep it hidden under your lip, you could be doing that at all times. And it worries me for these kids who, they're getting addicted to something that is very highly addictive. And, they're not even adults. It's so easy for them to get their hands on it. So again, I'm not judging anybody who uses nicotine products. Of course, like adults, that like it is a very, very common thing. It's as common as drinking alcohol, and I drink alcohol. So I'm definitely not passing judgment at all. Not at all. It just worries me. I just have concerns about the youths having such easy access to this stuff. So anyways, the videos though that I made, I thought were pretty funny. And I do think it brings attention to this issue. So maybe go watch them if you want. Let's move on to my second teaching story of the week. And this isn't really a story, but I really think back often to my first year of teaching, which was a crazy year because I started teaching in August of 2019. So you can guess that 6 months later, COVID, and that was my first year of teaching. So I taught in person for about 6 months or for 3/4 of the year. And then after spring break that year, we didn't come back. We were online for an entire year in my district. So that was a crazy first year of school, not only because of COVID, but because I had very tough students. Like it was my first year of teaching. I was teaching 6th grade. I had terrible classroom management. And like I had a lot of students too. I had like 30 students per class. Our classes were 90 minutes long every single day. So I saw the same kids every single day for 90 minutes. With 12-year-olds, that is a really long time. So it was just a lot. And there was one time where I have a student who when I look back and, I had some very tough students, but I really, really hope they're doing well now because, and I think they would be like juniors. Wait, 6. They're going to be juniors next year, which is crazy. Oh my God, they're going to be graduating in 2026, which is actually insane. But anyways, is it 2026? I think so. Or maybe it's 2027 that they graduate. They're either going to be 10th graders or 11th graders. Either way, they've grown up already. And I just hope they're all doing well. But there's one funny story. I have a ton of funny stories from my first year of teaching. But one that comes to mind is I had a student who, she was a little hyperactive. Like she always needed to be like up, walking around. She loved to chit chat. But there was one time where I was like in the middle of teaching and she just like blurted out, "I'm going to take a dookie in your trash can." I was like, okay, all right. You must really need to go to the bathroom. Like, go to the bathroom. So yeah, that's a funny story. If you want to hear more funny stories from my first year of teaching, I have so many. And the last teaching anecdote this week is I am so impressed by our students. Like, I have so many students who are involved in like a million different things. They're in several sports, they're in several clubs, they're on student government, they're in all honors or AP classes. Like, when do they sleep? Genuinely. And I think back to when I was in high school, and I I probably wasn't as involved as some of these kids, but I was pretty involved. I mean, I did 2, 3 sports. I was involved in like student leadership stuff, not student government, but other leadership things. And like somehow you wake up at 6 in the morning, you don't get home until 5 or 6, and that's just with practice. If you have a game or a meet, you don't get home till 9 or 10. Like, when did we have time to, when do high school kids have time to do homework? Genuinely. Like, I don't know how I did it. And I have kids who have over 4.0 grade point averages, and they're doing all of these things, and I'm like, I don't understand how you do it. It is so impressive. Like, I'm in awe of them all the time. So, shout out to high school students. You guys truly do it all, and like, it's impressive. Let's move on to our next segment this week, which is our influencer ranch, aka influencer tea of the week. So we have a couple things that we've seen gone viral. We have a viral, and then we have a trend today. So the first thing is the viral baby. I believe her name is Kate, and she is a baby who I don't know exactly. I'm not around babies a lot, but she looks to be under a year, I think, under a year old. So she's a baby, and her parents filmed a video of her where the mom is behind the camera, and the mom's like, "Who wants to go to the Four Seasons Orlando?" And this baby looks straight at the camera and goes, "Me." And everybody is just like going crazy over this video. This video has over 60 million views. They've been on the news. They've been in People magazine, all in a short few weeks here from this video being posted. So a few things I have to say about this video. First of all, I've never seen a baby do something like that. Like I said, though, I'm not a parent and I'm not around babies, so maybe they do. But it is a funny video if you see it. I didn't really like go seeking it out. It just sort of came, has become viral. So I've seen it on my For You page, but, very cute baby. I won't lie though, that the fact that that baby did that, like, kind of freaks me out. I'm like, whoa, like, how old are you? 70? I always think it's funny when babies like act like they're 70 years old. Like they act like grandpas, and that makes me laugh. But it does bring me to a little bit more of a serious discussion that I think is something that people have been talking about a lot recently, because there's a lot of children now on TikTok that their parents have been putting them on TikTok. So this video that I was just talking about with the baby and raising the hand doesn't necessarily fall under the topic that I'm about to talk about, because that video was like a random video. They didn't think it was going to go viral, I'm sure. And it, happened on accident. But what I'm talking more so about is parents who continuously put their children on the internet and profit off of it. And to me, there's just something that doesn't sit right with me about using your children to make money and to make a living, especially when like the child doesn't choose to do that. And so I'm not a parent, and so any parent can choose, what they believe is right for their family and their children, of course. But to me, I don't think it would sit right with me making money off of my kid, like I don't know, something doesn't sit right with me about that, about influencers who make a living from videos of their children on the internet. I don't know. And maybe I'm going to ruffle some feathers by saying that. I don't know, but something doesn't sit right with me. And again, I'm not like telling anybody what to do, because at the end of the day, it's your family and it's what you believe is right for your family. But that's just my opinion, I suppose. And I don't know. It's a hard topic, but maybe my mind will change once I have kids. I don't know. The next thing is the trend where it's like, my crush told me he liked Pokemon, so like, and then it's like a video of the girl like wearing a Pokemon shirt or something like that. So it got me thinking about, and that's just like a trend that's going around on TikTok where like girls, or whoever, girls, boys, anybody, where you post about like what your crush liked, like you find out your crush liked a certain artist, and then you show a video of you, like a really embarrassing video of you like singing a song by that artist or something, to try to get the attention of your crush. So that trend's kind of been going around, and I had a lot of crushes growing up. None of them were reciprocated until I had a boyfriend when I was a junior in high school, and that did not last long either. But I had a lot of crushes that were not reciprocated, and looking back, it's just like so embarrassing. I'm sure I did so many embarrassing things. Like, I don't even want to, like, I cringe just thinking about it. But I would like to talk about a couple things from elementary school, because at this point, it's like, those were just like silly little crushes, like, like it's just funny at this point. And I think back when I was in kindergarten, I legit had a crush on 3 boys at once, all at the same time. And I think I thought I was dating them all at the same time. At the ripe age of 5. I didn't even know what dating meant. I just thought they were cute, I guess. And then the second one, I think it was when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, maybe 5th grade, I don't remember. But I had a crush on this kid. And he kind of like wasn't a kid that you would really want to have a crush on, I don't think. Like, I don't know. The crush didn't last very long because we were out at recess. It was the middle of the winter, so it was snowy outside. I'm from Minnesota. We had snow in the winter, all winter long. And I think, I'm trying to remember the situation, but we were maybe having like some sort of snowball fight or something with a bunch of different kids. And I got hit in the head with this ice ball, this chunk of ice. It wasn't even a snowball. It was like a chunk of ice. And I got hit in the head with it, and I look over. It was my crush that threw it. And I don't know if he was aiming for me or not. Probably not. Because we weren't like friends or anything, and like whatever. But I was just like appalled. I was like, oh my God, he just threw an ice ball at me. And now all of I have 2 best friends who I've known since I was a kid, and they still to this day make fun of me for my crush having thrown a chunk of ice at my head. And yeah, they still make fun of me for it, and it's actually like so funny to look back on, and just so hilarious. So those are the only 2 embarrassing times I will talk about for now. I just don't think I could live down talking about any of my other embarrassing things that I did to try to get the attention of someone I had a crush on. But it is funny to think about, like, just how embarrassing I was. So embarrassing. Like, I was truly so embarrassing as a teenager and a preteen. I was so awkward. I was really bad at talking to boys, like, and I was really bad at flirting, and like, actually, arguably, I'm probably still pretty bad, and I'm just really lucky that Zach loves me. But anyways, moving on to our last segment of the week, which is the celebrity news of the week. So actually, these first 2 things are a little bit older news from like 1 or 2 weeks ago. But first thing is, we had 2 trailers drop, I think on the same day, but we had It Ends With Us and the Wicked trailer. And I have to say, I read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I read it last summer, and I did not like it. I read the whole thing, but I didn't really like it. It's kind of like a romance novel, but it also deals with domestic violence. And I don't know, I didn't really like it. But this trailer came out, and I was very, very skeptical about it, both because I didn't like the book, and also because all of those pictures that we saw circulating months ago with Blake Lively, and I was just very skeptical about this movie. But the trailer dropped, and I have to say, it looks really good. Like, it really does. It looks good. It looks very emotional, that's for sure, which the book is also. So I'm really excited for that trailer. But the Wicked trailer. Okay, let me give you a little background about my journey with Wicked. The first time I ever saw Wicked, I saw it when they did their Broadway tour, and I saw it in Chicago when I was 7 years old. That is 20 years ago. And so I loved it immediately. I memorized all the songs, and I believe I saw it again when I was a teenager, so I've seen it twice in my life. I would actually love to go see it again. But the Wicked trailer dropped, and it looks so magical, so colorful. It's kind of giving almost like when I saw, I don't know, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it looks so magical and colorful, and it actually looks so good. And we've been waiting so long for this trailer. I swear I've been waiting since like 2018 or 2019, because I thought it originally was supposed to come out in 2019, and then it never did. And now 5 years later, here we are. We see the trailer. It's coming out this year on Thanksgiving, and I feel like that's such a long time to wait. I'm so excited to go see it. But it looks so good, and we saw in the trailer, you see little snippets of the songs, and I just think it's going to be really good, and I'm really, really excited. So more to come on that after it comes out. My last little bit of celebrity news is Sophia Richie had her baby, and everybody's freaking out because she named her beautiful little girl Eloise. And apparently a lot of people are making TikToks saying that that was their girl baby name, and now it's going to become mainstream. But Eloise is still such a cute name. So, so cute. I would like to say that my baby girl name, which I will not share with you, but it's still safe. So I'm excited about that. I would like to share, though, 2 names that I have on my baby list, a boy and a girl name that I don't think I will ever end up using because they're not top on my list, and I also don't think I'm going to have more than like 2 or 3 kids. But I would like to share 2 names that I really like and would use if the time came. So the girl name is Zelda. I love that name. It's so like 20s. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool name. And I think if I don't get to name like a baby girl that I could name like my dog Zelda. So I love the name Zelda. And then for boys, so I love the name Theodore. So actually my dad's name is Theodore. He is the 3rd Theodore in his family. So his dad and his grandpa were Theodores before him. And I love the name Theodore, one, because it's just a very like, is it like a Victorian name? It's like an older sounding name, but there's also a lot of nicknames that can come out of it. Ted, Teddy, Theo. And my dad actually, like, he doesn't go by any of those nicknames. He goes by Chip. I have no idea how he got that. I guess Chip off the old block. Since he's like the 3rd, he didn't, like, he wanted to go by a different name because my grandpa's name, he goes by Ted. I'm not sure what my grandpa went by. But anyway, I really like Theodore, and it would be really special to be able to include that name in one of our kids, whether it be a middle name or a first name. So actually, it's more likely that I would use that name than the name Zelda, because I have like a top girl name, and then I have a top boy name. And I guess it just depends on how many of each sex we have. But anyways, we're not at that point yet. We got to get married first. Down the line, though, when we do want to have kids, it'll be fun naming them. So I think that just about wraps it up. Wow, what a great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you have a very saucy rest of your week. Thank you so much for listening today and any day. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye.